Hi everyone, my name's Jade Peartree. I am an EALD teacher at St Andrew's Primary School and at St Peter's Girls. I created this lesson for a demonstration lesson that I prepared for St Peter's Girls towards the end of 2023. I was told it was for a Year 4 class with 12 students, some of whom were new arrivals with minimal English. I would not usually put this much effort into a singular lesson, so please do not panic. This could be adapted and used for a whole unit about dogs, but I believe this is a great example of best practice when it comes to teaching and learning processes, especially with EALD students. So let me take you through the lesson. I provided you with some booklets today, which I used as handouts with my students for this lesson also. These can be found on my blog, but can also be found on the Google Drive that Trish will share with you today. So I began with this page. I had translated some of the text on these pages knowing that the new arrival students were Chinese. I used Google Translate, but also had a Chinese colleague of mine read it to ensure it translated well. So I explained to the students why I was there today, and we were going to be teaching a lesson about why dogs are so cute. At the beginning of every lesson, I like to introduce the learning intention. I think it's best practice to set up the lesson with the goals and expectations of what the students need to be successful within that lesson. I explained to everyone in the class that we all have different skills in writing in English, and I would do my best to assist them with their writing. The writing task would look different for each student depending on their level of English, and I was here to support them as best as I could. I brought in a lot of books with dogs to this lesson, texts with varying vocabulary and levels of English, from plain picture books with singular words to full paragraph text, but all of these were picture books. I think it's really important to have resources that will be useful and accessible to all. So raid your library and see what you have to find options that will suit your students. This was one example of foregrounding. I don't think it was the best example, but it was one that I'd found in the time that I had, and I think it was a good book, and I demonstrated it that was accessible to my students. Many of my students use the word cute to describe things, and sometimes it can really frustrate me. So I love to give alternatives and broaden their vocabulary and give them options and opportunities to use these words both verbally and in writing. I found this image off this website and used it, synonyms of cute, and made sure that the students understood what cute actually meant and how we could apply that to describing a dog. In this next slide, I wanted students to have access to vocabulary that they would require to be successful in this writing task. So did they know the body parts of dogs and what they were? What adjectives or describing words would most commonly be used for dogs? So I provided these with the handouts in their booklet, and we had some discussions about how we would use some of these words in sentences. The main thing I wanted them to understand from here is that dogs can be cute for both their physical traits, so what they look like, as well as how they behave. So we went through some examples of that together. I really love this video, and I'm happy for you to watch it at the end of the presentation if we have time. It's about Pip, who's trying to become a guide dog. I love this video for many reasons, but one of the things that I loved about it is that it's a non-verbal video. So this video communicates a story visually, and so it's accessible for all of our students, especially the EALD students. Also in this lesson, some of the students said they had seen it before, and I was so pleased. I said, great, now we're going to watch this with an intention and a different lens. So you are looking for what makes this dog cute. So I asked them to study Pip's behaviours and physical traits and write down notes during the clip to help them remember. When using a text, remember it's a great idea to reread or review it. This creates more opportunities for better comprehension, understanding from different perspectives of the characters or the characters' perspectives. It helps with building fluency when reading aloud, like how many of us reread a book simply for enjoyment or the love of certain characters. So I just think it's a good practice for us to show students that you can watch and view and reread things and get better understanding of them over time. So this video only goes for 4 minutes. It's a great little clip. Feel free to watch it. I'll provide the link on my blog as well. After watching the clip, the next task was thus to do a writing task together. So I said to the students we will be writing a paragraph of 4 to 5 sentences about Pip using descriptive words to explain why he was so cute. And I wanted them to look at their notes and think of the physical reasons, so what he looks like and why he's cute, and also his behavioural reasons. We did this for about 10 minutes. We did some examples as well. Pip is a lovable dog who's learning to be a guide dog. He has golden fur and big brown eyes. Pip is quite small but clever because he can solve problems and think quickly. So we did a bit of this together. Now, I think it's crucial that we provide examples for our students. We cannot expect our students to simply begin writing without having some form of exemplar or expectation to guide them. The bump it up walls are a great idea for this also, which we'll get into another time. So make the writing process less daunting for our students by providing this opportunity of shared writing. Joint writing as a class, we gathered sentences from different students, gathering different perspectives and writing levels, showing them that we're all capable and we're all different, and we can all come up with our own unique ideas and sentences, and they are each celebrated. It's also great for confidence when they notice, oh, so-and-so wrote a sentence similar to mine, we're on the right track. So there's a lot to be said for joint experience and writing together as a class. Moving to the final task, I had each step visually available to create that space for thinking before writing and planning before writing, accessing the resources from their booklets with guidance for success. So I set up these expectations about the task to be clear. The task is independent, which means we are writing alone. We're working quietly so we can all focus and write without distractions. And I gave them the time that we're going to have 15 to 20 minutes to do this writing. I offered support in that time, moved around, checked in and assisted where needed. But it's that gradual release of responsibility. You know, we start off modeling this and giving them the content and sharing that as a shared example, and then moving on for independent success. So this was the next step for the students, and I like to remind them to go back and look at the resources and the conversations we've had and the examples of these sentences that we did together as a group. So, and then I let them work on their sentences. The final stage of the lesson was to share what we've done. I often think, what is the point in their time and efforts if we're not willing to give them an opportunity to value this work and share their learning? So giving options for sharing is very important, especially with our ELD students. So standing up and verbally sharing writing can be a very daunting experience, and many won't feel ready or confident enough to do this. So giving options is an opportunity for them to share in a way that they feel comfortable. So you can share in front of us independently, or you can share with a partner. Can I read it to the class? I actually love doing this. I read a child's work and show that I'm so impressed by it, and I ask permission to share it. I love reading it dramatically, and I emphasize why it's so wonderful and give them that key positive feedback. And then oftentimes other students say, can you read mine next? So feedback to peers, we talk also about compliment sandwiches. So read a friend's work, say something you loved about it, say something that could be improved, and follow that with something else that you were really impressed by. So I'm sure that you'll have your own methods of feedback. There are many of them, but I do want us to really realize the importance of finishing a lesson with some sort of reflection or feedback to the student to summarize, to go over what the learning was and if we were successful in our learning intention today. And finally, I just want to say thank you for listening and for having this time to share this information with you. You can view and download these resources from this presentation on my blog, and feel free to leave me a comment or post questions there also. Thank you for your time.